In this video, I will show the Care Insights annotators that are built within the Annotator for Clinical Data service and are exposed to the Annotator for Clinical Data Configuration Editor tool. I will be using the Lupus cartridge that we have used in several other videos, as well as some sample text that is made up to showcase these annotators. This text has some information about the patient's medical status, as well as their lab results, procedures, medications they are currently on, and symptoms they are experiencing. To run the Care Insights annotators, I need to run ACD with a flow that uses those annotators. I can either do this with one of my existing saved flows or by adding them to my current flow in the Select Annotators dropdown. All of the annotators listed on the right side under Run All Care Insight Annotators are the Care Insights annotators, which are pre-built annotators that focus on specific domains. For example, the Allergy Annotator was built to extract information about allergies. The Bathing Assistance Annotator detects information around whether a patient needs or has needed bathing assistance, and so on. I'm going to select some of these to run in my flow, specifically the lab value, medication, named entities, procedure, smoking, and symptom disease annotators. And then I'm going to run that flow by clicking the Run button. Annotations returned from the Care Insight annotators are represented in the left-hand side by dotted underlines underneath the text on which they are found. You can also see the Care Insights annotations summarized by type in the right-hand findings pane. I am going to actually hide all of the concepts and all of the attributes so that we can focus in on those dotted underlines. And now we are going to look at a few specific Care Insight annotations. I am going to first focus on the lab value annotator. And to hone in on that lab value annotations, I am again going to hide all of the Care Insights annotations, and I'm going to select the checkbox next to lab value end to only show those returned from the lab value annotator, which have a type of lab value end. You can see those annotations here with those yellow dotted underlines, and hovering over one of them and scrolling down to the lab value end type annotation, you can see all of the information that is returned with that lab value annotation. You can see information such as the normalized name and the actual value of the lab result. Several of the Care Insights annotators also return medical codes, such as the RX norm identifier, if available. And in this case, you can see that the annotator returns any applicable LOINC identifiers for lab value annotations. Next, we'll take a look at named entity. Unlike most of the other Care Insights annotators, named entity annotations don't return with a type of named entity end. Instead, since the named entities annotator shows various different types of named entities, instead, those annotations return with a type related to the specific type of named entity. In this case, that is actually medical institution end, as well as organization end. Highlighting those, you can see that they are underneath the Mercy Hospital text, as the named entities annotator found an annotation of the type medical institution and organization indicator over that Mercy Hospital text. The named entities annotator also finds email addresses, locations, persons, US phone numbers, and organizations. Procedure is another useful annotator for medical contexts. You can see in this first paragraph that echocardiogram has been annotated, and hovering over it, you can again see that normalized name, as well as the SNOMED concept identifier. The annotator also returns with the concept unique identifier of this concept in the Unified Medical Language System, or UMLS. The annotations returned from the symptom disease annotator also include various medical codes. Hovering over migraine, you can see that the annotation has a CCS code, as well as ICD-10 and ICD-9 codes, and again, the SNOMED concept identifier. It also returns, again, with that CUI from UMLS and the normalized name of this particular symptom. Other useful details in this annotation are the date, which is in the sentence and has been associated with this migraine, as well as the modality. A modality of positive, which we have for this annotation, indicates a high probability that the identified text is related to symptoms or diseases. Looking at the medication annotation over Aimovig 70 mg daily, you can see that the annotator finds information, again, such as the drug Rx norm identifier and normalized name and UMLS CUI, as well as the dosage, if available, in this case 70 milligrams, and the frequency that that medication is being taken, which is daily. Now, in the last line, you can see that I have a term, made-up medication, that was prescribed to the patient to take weekly. Say that a new medication was just approved and was not yet being annotated by the medication annotator. Users have the ability to add and remove terms from pre-built annotators. You can add new terms by creating a new dictionary, which I can do by going to the Cartridge tab in the right-hand pane, selecting Create New Artifact, and selecting New Dictionary. I'm going to name this dictionary Lupus Drug Dictionary, as that is the information I am annotating, and then I need to change the type of the dictionary. Selecting this box shows all of the different types of dictionaries that you can create. A lot of them correspond to types of annotations and are used by various Care Insights annotators. In this case, I need a drug custom dictionary, and you can now see that the annotators, which this dictionary can be used for, are shown below. I can choose which of these annotators I want to actually use this custom dictionary. The allergy annotator can identify medications that the patient is allergic to, and I might find that useful, so I'm going to leave that checked. And since medication is the annotator that I was originally planning on having this annotated with, I am also going to leave that checked. I'm then going to create that dictionary, and you can see in the Cartridge tab that that is now shown under the Care Insights dictionaries in my cartridge. I'm going to open that up and add a new concept. So this is going to, the normalized name of my medication is going to be just made up medication. I can add an Rx norm identifier if there happens to be one, and that surface form is made up medication, which we saw in the text, and it can also be made up medication with spaces in between as well. I'm going to create that concept, and now if I go back to preview and run these annotators, you can now see that made up medication is being annotated by that medication annotator with a type of medication end. You can see the normalized name, which I put in the concept, as well as the Rx norm identifier, and the annotator finds for me, again, the frequency and dosage without me having to do any extra work. So that is how you add annotations to the Care Insights annotators. But what about if you want to remove annotations? For example, in the first sentence, we see the text, "She uses weed in edible form." Uses weed is being annotated by the smoking annotator as a smoking indication. However, the patient isn't actually smoking weed, they are just using weed in edible form. So I would like to remove that as a term that the smoking annotator detects. I can do this, again, by creating a new artifact in this case, a new filter. So let's call this lupus filter. And I am going to, again, change the type, in this case, to a smoking filter. Again, you can see this is showing up in my cartridge now, and if I select it, it shows me a text editor. Care Insights filters have to follow a standard JSON format so that ACD can interpret it properly. And you can find an example of that format by clicking Show Example in the top right. I can then copy and paste this example in the text editor and change any information that I would like to. So I'm going to change this to lupus smoking filter. You can see that the target is that smoking indicator type, and the condition is the actual section that you will want to change to match what you are trying to filter in or out of the annotator. So you can see that the condition in this case is matching the field's covered text for the value uses weed when not true. In other words, it is going to filter out any annotations with a covered text containing uses weed. So this actually already matches my use case, and I'm going to save this filter. I can then go back to preview, again, run my cartridge, and you can see now if I show all Care Insights annotation, that uses weed is no longer being annotated by the smoking annotator. So this is how you can use the Care Insights pre-built annotators to detect information about certain domains, as well as customize them with dictionaries and filters as necessary for your use case.